That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Smart Tuning Monday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the Produce Stand, a podcast paying tribute to everything in the universe. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other Letterkenny podcasts out there, but this one is about to be so good to our guest. I'm Mal, your host, and joining me in the room as always is lovely Tanya, and online we have Squirrely Matt and the vacuous Victor. And joining us this week, she's a Canadian actress known for roles in films like Hunter x Hunter, Shelby Oaks, and TV shows like The Disappearance. But we all know and love her as the object of Shoresy's obsession, Laura Mohr. Please join me in making some noise for Camille Sullivan.
Wondrous. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Wait.
Take it. I regret nothing.
Welcome to the Produce Stand. Camille, how are you? Warned you that was an aggressive soundbite, but
Good. We've learned over time we have to give people a heads up because they step all over it, and we're like, "Oh, just let it run. Just roll with it, right?"
Yeah, of course. A warning is a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to work on one for, more of our Shoresy content, but I can't find anything as aggressive as that in Shoresy yet, believe it or not. Anyway.
Well, keep looking. Looking.
So where are you speaking to us from?
From Vancouver.
Vancouver. Nice. Like in city proper or whereabouts?
Yeah, in the city proper. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Is that where you are from originally?
No, I grew up in Toronto.
Oh.
But I moved here, ages ago. So Vancouver's my home now.
How old were you when you moved over?
I was. That was good catching yourself. Not how long ago.
Yeah.
How old were you when? I appreciate it. I was 17.
Okay. So you spent your formative years in Ontario. So what part of Ontario or Toronto are you in? Or were you in?
I was in Toronto proper. I was downtown Toronto. Yeah.
Okay. So you went to high school in Toronto and then did you move for acting? Is that why you moved?
Well, not really. I went to the Etobicoke School of the Arts, and I just commuted over there, and I took painting there. And then when I came out to go to university, I went to UBC, and then that's where I sort of started doing more acting, and then got into the theater program there.
Oh, okay. So acting was never part of when you were in high school. You never considered it.
Not really. I did a couple because I went to an arts high school. I did a couple of plays there, and I was like, "This is cool," but I didn't really see it as something I could realistically do. It seemed like a sort of an idiotic notion.
Right. But as it turns out, we're going to talk about your career. You've done well for yourself.
Yes. Also, I'm not fit for anything else, as it turns out.
Oh, really?
Wait a second. What about your visual arts?
Yeah. What kind of visual art?
Okay. I still do it. Mm-hmm. As a hobby. I don't know how much I would sell. The last one I did was my cat. So.
Well, that's where it's at, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Very cool. So,
in which medium do you focus on most with your visual arts stuff?
I usually do oil paints. But I not the cat I was painting, a different cat. I adopted this other cat, and he's old, and he's a menace. He's a fucking menace. So he's I had the paints out. He was in the paints. He ran all over the apartment. I was just chasing him for an hour. So never again. I got to figure something else out.
Very nice. So you say you moved over to Vancouver. You're already 17. Did your family move, or did you move yourself?
No, I moved myself. I came and I went to university.
Oh, for UBC. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of what got you interested in acting then?
I was always interested. I watched a lot of movies when I was growing up, and I went to see, my mom took me to Stratford to see theater and stuff like that. And so I was always interested, but like I said, it just didn't seem like a real thing I could pursue. So it took me sort of going then to university and seeing other people go I'm going to throw my hat in the ring here and be like, okay, well, how bad can it turn out?
Right. Well, as it turned out really well for you. Now, looking at your credits here, and I see that you have some writing credits as well. So, but we'll get to those in a second. But first, is your first role on Dead Man's Gun TV series. Would that be your first paid acting job?
Yeah, my first on TV. I had done some theater before, but yeah.
Okay. Now that one there, narrated by Chris Christopherson. Did you get to meet him, or was that
not at all? Each episode was totally encapsulated. So mine was with I can't remember his name, but he was on 90210. Brian Austin Green.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bad boyfriend on it, or I was his whatever girlfriend that he treated poorly. And then, yeah, it was.
So
fun.
he was not good to you.
No, I mean he personally was a very nice guy, but no, in terms of the show. And it was like my first scene. My first scene ever on film. I think I'm supposed to run up and I jump in his arms and I run up and I just flattened him right to the ground.
You deserved it.
Yeah, definitely.
It shows here your first TV series was Beggars and Choosers with not with Christina Hendricks, but she was also had a spot on there. So would that have been your first kind of full TV series?
No. I did like a couple, 3 episodes of that, a very small part. If I'm to think like really TV series, I did Da Vinci's Inquest is probably the first thing I really carried on with. And I think I did one called Big Sound for a while, which was exciting.
Yeah, that one was interesting. Not a lot of information on that one though. Like I looked it up and
it's like they aired it and then disappeared it forever. But it was like fun. It was a cool show to work on.
Yeah. Victor would probably enjoy because it's all about the music industry, right?
And there's really that's kind of lacking out there is a good TV show about the music industry.
Yeah, for sure.
It was fun. It was funny. It's so long ago. I can't remember any names, anyone involved in any capacity.
But you mentioned Da Vinci's Inquest, and for our American listeners who might not have heard of the show, I mean, that was a big show up here. It ran a while and it was all over the place. What was that like being on that show?
That was cool. Like I started, I don't know how many seasons they'd already been going, but I started toward the end. And I was really nervous. I was really young, and Nicholas Campbell is so good. He's such a good actor. Like he's just unbelievably good. So it was really intimidating, but he was so, cool and fun. And so before I went on to play a cop in a regular capacity, I did one episode where I was playing someone addicted to drugs. And so I'm talking about my scenes with Nicholas Campbell, and I accidentally spat in his face. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I spat in your face. He's like, no, that's great. Do it.
Yeah, he was probably like, that was so real. Thank you. Yeah.
That's more.
Very nice.
Wasn't there a Friends episode with that where Joey was, I don't know if you watch Friends at all, but Joey was acting alongside, oh my God, what's his name? Played, I don't know, there was another famous actor.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Oh my God, I'm blanking on the guy's name. He's Gary Oldman was in the show. And they were going toe to toe, and Gary Oldman character was like, no, you've got to spit in my face.
Right.
Like, that's how you get it across. And they were just going at each other.
I do remember that.
Now you know where they
It
got
happens
the
in
idea.
real life too.
It's totally a real thing.
In 2000, it looked like maybe your first film role was Screwed. Would that be right?
Yeah, that might have been my first film role. I was the flower shop clerk.
Yeah. Well, check out this.
I don't remember what my line was.
Yeah, check out this cast: Norm Macdonald, Dave Chappelle, Danny DeVito. Speaking of spitting, Sherman Hemsley and Sarah Silverman. I mean, wow, that's. Did you get to meet any of them, or were you like overwhelmed?
I met Norm Macdonald.
Oh
I think.
Yeah.
But that's it. It was like literally he came in and bought flowers for me, and there you go, sir.
Yeah.
That was basically it.
That's pretty impressive, though. Like when you're pretty young or new still in the role there. Were you intimidated with seeing all these people around, or you're so focused on what you're doing?
Yeah, but I was intimidated on every set for starting, and even really still. It's always kind of like it's always kind of nerve-wracking. It's always like you're at lunch at a new school and you're like, you don't know anybody, but everybody's cool and you're a total nerd.
I mean, but in the same year, you were in Best in Show as well. And now talk about names there: Christopher Guest, Fred Willard, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Jennifer Coolidge, Parker Pose. I mean, that must have been a big year for you. Was that like the year where you're like, okay, I can make a go at this acting thing?
No, not at all.
No?
I did sorry, no.
Bust the question now.
No, no.
No, I just did everyone was super nice. And of course, like I was fans of theirs and it was
Sure.
amazing. But again, it's like I came in, I did I'm like, they're ready for you. And then that's it. That's all I did. So I remember I went to the bathroom when we were on a break and they couldn't find me and I got in big trouble. And that's sort of what I remember from the day.
Oh, wow. I mean, so at what point did you realize or decide, okay, I can do this acting thing. I don't need to, I don't know what you might've been doing part-time or whatever, but you're like, I'm going to do this full time.
Well, so I held on to this job as an usher where I worked 1 day a month, maybe.
Okay.
And I made in total, $800 for the year. And I held on to that job for so much longer than I should have. Probably 6 or so years, but I was already fully making my living acting. I was just like, just in case, I better hang on to this usher.
The most random fallback.
Yeah.
This will save me if I get into trouble. So yeah, then I finally quit that. They're like, we need a regular schedule. I'm like, fuck you, I quit.
Nice. Well, I've only been to Vancouver once, but what I do know about the city is it's not the cheapest city to live in. So an $800 a year job, how do you even survive? Okay.
Yeah, not even intense. I spent it on beer. They also let me drink beer there. So that was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
There was savings there.
So yeah, there's some perks. There were some perks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm no fool.
The L Word was another one that had so many huge names in it, and you're on a couple episodes of that. Can you talk about that one at all?
Yeah. Again, Marine boy, I didn't do much on it. I was in this scene with this woman. I had a girlfriend. She was very sweet, and she had full nudity, as I recall. And I felt concerned. She seemed fine with it, but I felt concerned.
Right.
As long as you're good with it, you didn't get pressure. She seemed fun.
Yeah. Well, now I mean, all film sets have these intimacy consultants and stuff that kind of, I guess, advocate for the actors. But when did that start? How long ago would that have been?
For me, only, I think it really started with around the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Before that, no, I've done some love scenes that were it was just Wild West. It was just whatever, you're here, you're nude, and nice to be doing this. What?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then but then I have worked with intimacy coordinators since in the last couple or 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. At first I was kind of like, is this necessary? But I mean, I hate to be that person that's like that, but it's just because I'd done it on my own without worrying about it. You learn to say no.
Yeah.
But it actually just makes the whole scene better, aside from being safer and being there for people who don't feel comfortable saying no. They know what they're doing and make it look sexy. They make it look cool. It's just better. It's like having a fight coordinator. It's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wish I had her name offhand, but there's this one TikTok follow of an intimacy consultant, and it is amazing all the thought and everything that goes into that role and how much she advocates for both sides. It's not just, her saying no to the director, but maybe talking to the director about how maybe it could be better if we do it this way or whatever. Right. And it's an interesting part of the filmmaking process that I don't think we much think about.
Yeah, I think so. And they'll talk to the director and they get, what does the director want? And then they'll talk to the actors and go what are you comfortable with? And then finding a way to make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really does.
Yeah, I guess if you have full alignment, there's more authenticity there and more comfort across the board. So the result probably comes a stronger output.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Definitely. It's going to be sexier because everyone's going to be comfortable and invested.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel sometimes you'll be doing a scene or, used to be. And then all of a sudden a hand goes somewhere and you're you're having to grab that hand at the same time as continue with the scene. So it's distracting.
So it's the Wild West before all of this.
It really was.
Man.
It really was. You had to be very comfortable saying no. I remember fighting so hard for a nude thong. You wouldn't think it would be a big fight. I was like, I will not do it without the thong. I'm not going to tell you.
It's okay. We're not that kind of podcast. One of the credits that stand out on IMDb, just because Sandy and I were big fans of this show, was and you're only in the pilot, but Battlestar Galactica. I mean, you were in the pilot, so you've been on that set, and was that all shot in Vancouver?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It was all shot in Vancouver.
What was
yeah.
that set like?
It was cool.
Yeah.
As I recall, which I think, okay, so there was the original Battlestar, and then there was a different one. And I remember I was in one in a fighter jet.
Right.
And that was super cool. They
Oh,
had like lost somebody. And so they called me that day and they're like, can you go and do it? Sure. So I was in a fighter jet. I basically just like flew it and then, got shot. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah.
Really quick. Has all of your work or most of your work been Canada side, or have you gone down into the US or other places to do any shoots?
I've only been to the US to shoot one time.
Wow.
Recently, I went to Cleveland, and that movie's coming out, Shelby Oaks. It's going to premiere at the Fantasia Film Festival this year, actually. And it's a horror movie directed by Chris Stuckman. And they'd seen me in Hunter x Hunter, and they just came at me with an offer. So I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I haven't really sought out going to the States because I like Canada and I work here a lot.
Mhm.
But but that was a fun, cool thing.
Yeah, that was
quick follow-up to that. Did you find it challenging maintaining work in Canada? Because I know our industry is a little different than obviously south of the border there. A lot of people say there's a lot more opportunity, but even when we talked to Jared, we know that he left LA to come back to Toronto because he wanted to work Canada side. But did you ever feel any pressure that you had to go there, or was work always pretty steady and you were good?
I definitely felt pressure. Like I should go there. Like,
yeah.
And at one point I went so far as to get my paperwork in order, and like I was going to make a move, and then it just wasn't. I just didn't want to. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I just didn't want to. And I work enough up here that I can make a living, no problem. The only thing I encounter that's a bit frustrating is sometimes I know that Canadian producers will want me for something, but then instead, American partners will sign on and then they want someone from the States. So it's hard to compete because people from the States don't know anything I've been in. They've never heard of it. God bless them. It's Canadian stuff, no problem. And Canadians want you to have been in something American.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, you've got 88 credits on your IMDb plus 2.
I don't give you a break, right?
2 coming up. Yeah.
Including Supergirl. We can't miss
Yeah,
Supergirl.
you're on
just one
Supergirl.
episode, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Supergirl was fun. That was a blast. I had those shooty things. I got to do some action. It's a little fighting and stuff. That was super fun.
Is that the technical term, shooty thing?
Yeah, shooty things, I believe. Yeah.
So, if you were to pick a genre, because it looks like you're doing a lot of like kind of dramas and thrillers, cop procedurals, a little bit of horror. Shoresy looks like one of the few comedic roles that you've had. So, what's your preference?
Shoresy is definitely one of the few comedic roles I've done. And Jared offered me the part, and people don't usually think of me for comedy. So I was extremely grateful to be given that chance, and, nervous when I showed up, because it's like, I usually do like fully crying. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And so, it's totally different, and I love doing it, and I'd like to do more of that. And then right now I'm also doing, I'm really enjoying working in horror, because I just think that's cool. The stakes are so high and there's room to be weird and to go all the way and push the boundaries and stuff. I find that super fun.
Well, I saw a clip of a movie you did called Hunter x Hunter in 2020. And that was an intense clip that I watched you in. So, and very physical too. So do you like the fight scenes and stuff?
Yeah, I really do. I really enjoyed that. Hunter x Hunter was all like carrying heavy things, dragging bodies through the woods, and running, and there was a fight in it, and I got to do all that, and it was fantastic. And they were gonna have there was some talk about, do you need someone to do the fight for you? I'm like, no, I can do it. I'm all botched up. And then I got nervous about it, but it was fine. It was great, and I loved it. I'd love to do more of it.
There's a movie here called Rescued by Ruby, starring Grant Gustin from The Flash. What's it like acting with dogs?
Oh, it was so great, because usually it's like when there's a dog there, you're not really allowed to interact with them. They have to stay focused with the trainer. But in this one, the dog was supposed to be unruly, and he was supposed to jump up on me and stuff like that. So I got to interact with him constantly, like work him up, and it was so much fun. And every time he'd do something a little bit different, so you had to be it's about the dog. The scene is about the dog. You get that through your head. You just help the dog do the scene, and it's so much fun.
That's really cool.
One last one before we move on to Shoresy. Unspeakable, which was a TV miniseries about the tainted blood scandal in Canada. I only bring this one up because you acted alongside Sarah Wayne Callies, who, for those of us or those of our listeners would know, is Anita Dick, but she's also, in Prison Break and Walking Dead. Now, at the time, 2019, I think she would have already been on Letterkenny. So were you aware of Letterkenny when you were on that with her? And did you know anything about that? And did you ever talk to her about it?
I did not realize that she was on it.
Oh,
no, I didn't realize that. We didn't talk about it, but I was aware of the show. Like, I've known Jared for a long time.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, I knew about the show, but no, I didn't put that together. She actually directed one of those episodes too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It looked like it's an interesting story for sure. A true story. So those, again, our American listeners, if you want to know, it was like a big Hep C thing that happened in our blood banks, and big scandalous story up here. Yeah. Sarah Wade Callies, she played Anita Dick. She was the Mennonite's wife, Jonathan Torrens' wife on Letterkenny. Okay. And did a great job too. Like one of our favorites. All right. So well, before we move on to that, you mentioned do you prefer like films or TV series, or it doesn't matter? It'll work for you.
That doesn't matter to me. It's all good.
Yeah.
As long as I like to keep moving. I get a little bit bored when it's, I hate to say it, but when it's a higher budget and you spend more time waiting, I get bored.
Right.
So Shoresy must have been your happy place. We know the pace that they work.
They work fast. And you're probably only in a few days per season when they're shooting, right? Like, because the scenes you're in, they're pretty contained.
Oh yeah, it's just quick. It's usually like, I don't know, between like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. So
especially season 2, where all the scenes are in a doorway.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that was one day. No problem.
All of our listeners are happy to see more and more Laura Mohr scenes, though, because especially last season, we won't talk about season 3 yet because it hasn't dropped in the US, but last season, those scenes between you and Jared are some of the best.
Yeah. Well,
thanks so much.
Yeah. And we recently did. So when we're in our off season right now, and we're about to start reviewing season 3, we invite a lot of our listeners to sort of co-produce their own episodes. So one of our listeners, Chad, came forward with a best of season 2 Shoresy, which really what it turned out to be was a best of you, because it was just basically 10 clips of every Laura Mohr and Shoresy scene throughout the whole. So he was telling a love story. We didn't know that going into it, but it was a lot of fun. So if you're curious, we did a whole episode just about Laura Mohr scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, those were really great. Season 2, those scenes are so fun, so well written, so much fun to do. Oh my God.
The banter between you and Shoresy, like, it was just so perfect. So perfect.
And whip fast. I don't know, like, you've been on enough productions. How does like the Shoresy production compare in terms of like the fast cutting and the dialogue?
I love it. It's so much fun. And all for me is just make sure I know the shit out of that dialogue so that I could do it backward and forward. I could do it, as fast as we need to go and not get rattled by it. Cause then when it's really clipping along, that's when it's so much fun and it's really at its best.
Amazing.
So
before we get too far, we got to get, how did you get there?
Get to Shoresy. So you mentioned you knew Jared from before, I guess. I didn't see any credits, like any overlap between you and him.
You're not looking hard.
Oh no, which one? Okay, tell me.
It's the Marine 3 Homefront.
The Marine 3. I don't even see
the Marine 3. It's it's a long time ago. But Jared played the sheriff or the deputy sheriff or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And my brother's best friend and also my boyfriend. And so it was a thing, my sister gets kidnapped.
Right.
The Marine saves her and all this action stuff happens. But that's how we met on that. And so, and then we became friends. And when he lived in Vancouver, sometimes I'd help him audition and vice versa, just, taping or whatever if you had to. And and then he moved away and became hugely successful. And then came back to me for a role later.
Amazing.
All right, I finally found it here.
Yeah,
I completely
I'm seeing it here
missed
too.
it. So well
We
done.
didn't do our research. We apologize.
So
One job, Al. One job.
so that's where you guys met, was on the set of Marine 3?
Yeah.
And how did he approach you then for were you the first one he contacted for Laura Mohr, or did you have to audition?
I didn't audition. I was working on something else and I just got a call, do you want to do this? I think my agent may have submitted me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that came about, although I know it was because he likes me and
Sure.
he's familiar with my work. And so, yeah, it happened that way.
Very cool. Did he tell you what the role is going to be? Like, I'm going to be completely obsessed with you for.
No. Oh my God. No. And even having read the script for the first day, I wasn't ready for it because when I got there, he's just so like, it's so effusive. The phrase, I was just like, I was honestly blushing.
So, I mean, how did you, like, when you joined it was a brand new cast, so it's not like you're joining a set cast. Like, you were there from the beginning. How did that all gel? How did you find that all gelled?
Everyone's so great. Everyone's so nice on it. Both the cast and the crew are it's the nicest grouping of people. So everyone's really super welcoming. And even like I'm only in a few days and most of my scenes are with Jared. So I'm not like interacting and then acting wise a lot with other people, but everyone is so sweet. So it's a great group of people. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the first, I know if I recall, the first scene in season 1 was when you guys were talking in the doghouse, if I recall. Mm-hmm. Was that the first season or was that the first scene you guys actually shot as well?
No, I think the first scenes we shot were the ones in the arena, in the
hallway there.
Yeah. And they were just fire. It was great.
Did you guys feel the chemistry? Because we see it on screen, and that's all we talk about. Is there's like real just banger energy between you two. Was it obvious when you guys are doing it as well?
Did. I think I was surprised. I was surprised by how much. And I think I remember turning to one point going, God, we're cute. We are so
Love that.
Had you ever seen him with his jib out before?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's really good.
So you mentioned you were familiar with Letterkenny, but had you watched any of it before you started Shoresy or no? It's okay to say no. It's okay.
You're gonna
you're a diehard Canadian actress.
Yeah, you're too busy for that stuff. Yeah, that's
no
fine.
pressure here.
Not really. It's the long and short of it. I mean, a little bit, not.
The whole premise of this podcast is that I did not like Letterkenny, so don't feel free to you didn't see it before.
Yeah.
Okay,
it took us 3 years to get Tanya to like the show.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But Jared does listen, so you've outed yourself there.
I know. I feel bad. I don't think I ever told. I mean, I'd seen it. I just I wasn't like the regular.
Sure. It's all good. Now, of course, we told our listeners you were coming on, and they had a bunch of questions. So, some listener questions here. First one from our buddy Dennis in the UK. It's his usual question, and I'm not sure you could even qualify to answer this, but his usual question is, "Who's the best slut on the ice?" Now, are you able to watch them play at all when you're there, or do you ever?
No, not really, and I wouldn't know anyway because another thing I don't know is anything about hockey.
Oh, so you're not a Canucks fan then?
No, I'm not.
Or a Leafs fan.
I'm not a fan. I just don't follow it.
Don't worry, Camille. I'm with you. Go sports ball. I'm with
you. Yes, both Matt and myself are not sports people either. So yeah.
Yeah. During the playoffs, it's knitting time for Tanya.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, other than art and acting, what do you like doing for fun?
Oh gosh, what do I like doing for fun?
So I'm reading here that, and I don't know if this is true because I've got it here up on Wikipedia. It says you're into kickboxing and stage combat.
No, I mean it's on my resume at one point, and I did take it at one point, but I should really take it off there because if you ask me to do it, it would be rough going. It would be rough. I don't know. I don't do that much. I hang out with my friends. I have so much free time. I often end up going for long walks and just sort of I don't know if you've ever, the idea you just follow that goose. You know what I mean?
That might be the most Canadian thing you've said this whole interview.
Yeah, that makes up for I don't watch hockey and yeah.
Follow the goose.
I follow
No, I'm
squirrels.
really Canadian.
Yeah. Tobias in Missouri would like to know if there's like a dream role that you would love that you haven't done yet.
I think I'd like to do like a really, and I've sort of done this, but I'd really like to lean in even harder into a very bloody revenge role.
Oh,
Nice.
interesting.
Oh wow!
I got something
Because of the stage combat and the kickboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to fight, and I want to wreak vengeance and work out.
And you want it to be gruesome, like you want it, no holding back, eh?
Jaws on the floor.
Hell yeah, fuck yeah.
Very cool. Mike from New Jersey, he says there's a good amount of your credits seem to be horror and thriller type roles when going between different projects. How difficult is it to drop back into Laura Mohr for the Shoresy shoots? That's from Mike in New Jersey.
It's so light and fun. It's a pleasure to drop into it. It's like I did right before starting. It came off something very heavy and so much crying and so much just like anguish, which is fun too in its own way. But to drop that and then to do the flirtatiousness of it is so fun. Like that's something I hardly ever do. Like just flirting with it, like being nice and normal and having a flirtation. I never get to do that.
So wouldn't you like to just do like? Oh, go ahead.
So on a scale from 1 to 10, how close are you to the Laura Mohr character?
I don't know. That was someone else would have to say. I don't think I'm that far off of it. I mean, there's definitely quite a bit of me in there. Yeah.
So it comes a little naturally, eh?
Yeah, it does. For good or for bad, yeah.
I love this next question from Mike in New Jersey because he's just shooting his shot here. He said, yesterday was not only Father's Day, but it was also my birthday. Can I get a birthday shout out? He's a big Laura Mohr fan.
Oh, okay, sure. So tell me the name again.
Mike from New Jersey.
All right. Big shout out to Mike from New Jersey. Happy birthday, buddy.
I think he just made his birthday.
Amazing. Now, curious. So going back to like some of the scenes with you and Jared, basically, which is most of your scenes, how often or does he make you break? Do you have like when he's going back and forth, can you hold it together through his nonsense?
Sometimes it's tough. But I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at holding together. I'll sometimes hear the crew breaking up behind them a little bit. Like, and it's great. And sometimes he definitely does break because it's hilarious. And he'll switch it up. And sometimes it's that one little switch up that's just like,
I feel like that scene at Uncle Eddie's when he's like, can't even look at you. And then he finally turns around and he's like, holy shit. Like that scene seems like it would be really hard to get through.
No, it's okay because it's like got such a rhythm, and if you lose the rhythm, you fuck the whole scene.
Yeah.
So you really got to stay with it.
That's amazing.
Matt made a good point. Most of your scenes, if not all of them, I can't remember now, are with Jared. If you were to pick some other actors that you would like to have scenes with, what would they be? And maybe be creative. You're a writer as well. What would that scene be?
Oh my God, what would that scene be? I don't know. I'd like to interact a little more with with the women.
Okay.
Because I'm so siloed off from them, and I watch the show, and I think they're doing great stuff, and like I just like to have some fun with them.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think we should have a scene with Tassia Tellis. I think that would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
We had one in season 1. We had one scene.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Jeff from Maine, who just came back from his trip to Sudbury, he wants to know where you think is the best place to eat in Sudbury.
Oh boy, I don't know. Well, Eddie's obviously.
Yeah.
I went to Salute for coffee, and that was quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, usually when I go, it's pretty cold. So, and I don't have a car, so I don't get out that far from the hotel.
Yeah.
And it just whatever's right there. But I have looked at some places that look good, and one of these days I will make it out there.
Had you been to Sudbury prior to Shoresy?
No.
That's right.
Quite a town,
neither have we, and we only live in Toronto.
That's not true. I did. I shot a movie called Ice Soldiers, maybe renamed, in Sudbury with Michael Ironside. And we went to the keg and we went to the movie, and it was so fun. Yeah. Anyway.
Hanging out with Michael Ironside. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, don't feel bad. We live 4 hours south of Sudbury, and that was my first time there anyway. I'd never been before. There was no reason to.
There's some good food up there, though, for sure.
There's a lot of great places.
Where will you tell me? Where should I eat?
Well, Pepe's for sure.
Pepe's.
Laughing Buddha was really good.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those
Really
two
good.
were I think our favorites.
Yeah.
And
Which was the place with like 150 different types of wings?
oh, that place is gone now. Unfortunately, they
Is it really? Oh.
yeah. Because
It was a big wing place.
They shut down a bunch of stuff downtown because they're revitalizing the downtown. Sadly, the Doghouse is one of the places that's no longer, and that wing place too, I believe. So,
yeah, we were fortunate enough. We went up while they were all shooting season 2, and we got to meet Jared and have some fun around town. And then actually we're extras on, I think it was episode 3.
Yeah, in the hockey arena. Yeah.
Of the hockey in the rink scene. So we had a lot of fun up there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That other breakfast place, Nowhere, was it?
Nowhere, Nowhere was
fantastic.
Good too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure.
So there you go. You have your marching
All
orders.
right, good. Now
Try all those places.
I'll have to venture out of my room more.
Casey from Virginia says or asks, what kind of single mom do you think Laura is? Have you made up a backstory you can share?
I haven't made up too much, although I saw the drawings are the drawings of a fairly youngish kid.
Okay.
So I think Laura's kind of like, she takes good care of her kid, but also gives her space, lets her roam, raises sort of a free run child.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of roaming children.
Did you hear that?
That was from Matt's side.
Oh,
that was my pet moose.
Oh, was that Moose?
Oh,
That was Moose.
I thought it was one of your boys.
No, I have a 100-pound cane corso in the other room.
Yeah.
Is he whining?
I don't know what he's doing.
He wants to say hi to Laura Mohr. Let him say hi.
There you go.
What the hell he's doing, but we'll just let him be for now.
Paddle, I don't know where he's from. I can't remember where he's from, but he wants to know how it feels to be the only one to match and sometimes beat the from Shoresy.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. I like that. And I can't remember. I think that might have been a change that he made while we were shooting the first time that came up. Like, I'm not sure that was in the original script, but that's cool. It's nice. It's nice to have that little distinction where I get to just be
Throw it back
matching
at
all
him.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Matt, do you have any other questions for Camille or?
Well, I mean, I want to talk more about Shoresy just in general. Like, I know season 3, we're not going to talk much about Shoresy, but do you have any favorite moments, whether you were in them or just scenes from watching the show that you that just stuck with you throughout the series?
I mean, there are so many, but what I really think is pretty amazing about the shows, and the seasons in particular so far, is the way it's like, by the last episode of each season, it's so wrapped up and it's so beautiful and emotional and funny. And it's just such an incredibly satisfying arc each season. And that really that's great. I mean, I think the writing's just incredible. I'm just blown away by it.
One of our listeners called it emotional whiplash, and I think it's kind of fair because in the same scene you might be crying and then you'll end up laughing to tears. So for sure, Victor.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So there is this show Letterkenny that you're not too familiar with, but it did go 12 seasons. So. And so
You're such a dick, Victor.
So let me cook. So
I apologize.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, should we apologize in advance?
Yeah,
here?
we're sorry, Camille.
So obviously you've already had an incredibly successful career. But let's say you get a leading role in some crazy blockbuster movie next year. And it goes gangbusters, right? Are you still coming back for season 12 of Shoresy?
Yeah, 100%. I'll come back for as long as they'll have me, for sure. Yeah,
All
but
right.
it's a couple of days. Like,
Mhm.
a couple of days.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. It's not,
That's great. I just want to make sure that we got it on camera, and it's not on camera. We got it
Yeah,
recorded.
as long as they'll
Yeah.
have me, as long
All
as
right.
they'll have
That's,
Are you familiar with the recently announced Shoresy Classic that they're doing? Have you heard of this yet?
No, I saw something about it, but no.
So they're doing the cast is going up against there's two separate games in November, I believe.
Yeah.
One in Toronto, one in Boston, going up against alumni of both of the Maple Leafs and the Bruins. So
Oh,
the whole team's going again. My question was going to be, did you get an invite, and will we be able to see you in Toronto? But if not,
I
you
did
should
not
totally
get a-
come to. You should
that's
totally
because they
come to
knew her
Toronto.
position on hockey.
Go
in
Sports.
general.
I
Yeah.
should come though. Make my mother so happy.
yeah.
go.
There you go. How
Call
often?
Jared and say, "Where's my invite, man?"
Yeah. How often
So
do
you
you get?
see, listen, so it's already up there.
How often do you get back to Toronto?
I try to go a couple times a year
Mhm.
when I can. Yeah,
To end
for
it in the-
short periods of time.
Yeah, I get it. I live in Toronto. It's already too long.
It's
for
the
me.
driving. We get it. It's the driving.
It's the drive.
Yeah, we don't like driving here either.
The the chemistry is just so electric between you and Shoresy. Was that character for yourself or Laura Mohr? Was it all written out, or what did you add to that character? Like, did you add something to it, or?
I mean, I do the lines as scripted 100%. I don't
Mhm.
veer off them unless he has a note for me on the day. What I did sort of try to bring to it was just to find the reality of the relationship and its journey from like going like this guy's a creep to liking him, and just try to figure out how I could make so the dialogue is so fun and funny to keep that, and then also find the other layer that sort of takes me through the whole reality of the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys, again, it comes across, and you are definitely our favorite character, and the relationship and the banter and the quick wittedness between the two of you is just fantastic. It really comes across so well. And thank you so much for spending
thank
this
you
time
so
with
much.
us and answering all of our questions and dealing with Victor. Sorry for that.
I have one more question.
Yeah,
for
for
you.
sure. Go ahead, Victor.
So you're obviously a lover of theater and movies and whatnot, and so not counting the movies you've been in, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, of all time. Oh, that's hard.
And it could be a cheesy movie like back from the 80s or
I'll tell
something
you
like
the
that.
one I've watched the most. It among my favorites of all time, and it's the one I've seen the most times, is The Big Lebowski.
Ah,
I watched that over and over and over again.
very cool.
Nice.
It's a
Hard
good-
yes.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
That's an easy
Amazing.
watch for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
What about musical? I mean, Jared is a master at picking music for both Letterkenny and Shoresy. Musically, what are your tastes?
I like right now I'm listening to the Black Keys.
Mhm.
They're cool, and I like I've always liked Tom Waits. I was been a big Tom Waits fan.
Oh, Tom Waits.
And I get into the blues a little bit and stuff
Oh,
like
very cool.
that.
Yeah, nice.
Now, wait a second. Here it says you're also into swing dancing. Is that also just a big?
You broke her, man.
Oh no.
I can do it. Like if you ask me to swing dance right now, I could do it.
Okay.
But I mean, it's been some years.
Did you learn that for a role somewhere?
I'm an enthusiast.
An enthusiast?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Are these all like random items that end up on your resumes? And this wouldn't be the first time we've heard other casts say there's random. I Evan Stern. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, it
from
was the
Letterkenny.
running.
Yeah, his was.
Yeah. He's running on his.
It was under his skills.
It was like sprint, sprint running or
under
something.
skills.
Yeah,
it was under skills running.
That's what happens. It's like when you first start, you have no credit. So you just beef up your like other skills. Like, oh, I'm bilingual and I can swing dance. And then they just stay on there forever.
I am right-handed.
Okay, but because we know that Jared listens to these, I'm going to pitch an idea. I want to see Laura Mohr meeting the family. Him taking Shoresy taking Laura
nice.
Mohr to
yes,
the family.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
But have like a scene where they swing dance.
Now, do you see Shoresy as a swing dancer?
Why not?
Not at all. Not
He
at all.
surprised us before.
That would not be no.
I think that would be great if we
yeah.
saw him,
we've seen his moves on the dance floor.
Yeah.
They are not swing dancing kind
if
of
you can do the
moves.
chicken wing, you can do the Charleston.
Yeah.
Baby step.
Oh man,
Amazing.
Oh, that's really
that's
good.
awesome.
So one quick question from my end, and I ask this to everyone. I mean, I know the show all started originally from Letterkenny universe there, and then transitioned over, and you have a very accomplished career. But what has it meant to you to be involved in Shoresy from a career point? Is it any other job, or is it something different for you?
It is different for me actually in a lot of ways. One, because it's comedy, and because I really don't get to do comedy very often at all. Or if I do, it's like so dark. Anyway. And because it's also because I'm not usually on something that's so popular, honestly. It's like that's pretty cool too. Like I was at the airport and I looked awful because I was just, I was at the airport. And I was watching a movie and I was drinking some wine. And then I saw somebody looking over me. I'm like, oh no, someone's recognizing me. And I look terrible. And I'm half done at the airport. I gotta get it together now.
Do you what's the word I'm looking for? Do you loathe those moments or are you still enjoying?
You embrace
it's
them.
sweet. It's really nice and it's very, very flattering. It just makes me think that
Sure.
I don't want to be a huge disappointment
Right.
when people see me in reality. So yeah.
Oh, you
And
could
do they call you out and approach you and say we're going to be so good to you or anything like that?
No, not yet. Not yet. One guy did come in. I was eating sushi. I was sitting in the window. He's just staring at me, and then he came in and he pointed at me, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, are you
Awkward.
Shoresy? And I'm like, mm-hmm. He's like, awesome. He just left. Cool.
Nailed that one.
Yeah. I feel like there was a missed opportunity there for him to go, yeah, or something, like. Where do you find yourself getting more noticed more, in Vancouver or Toronto, or where would you say?
It's really when I have my hair down, like when I usually have a cap on and my hair's up or like whatever. But if I'm like makeup on and my hair down, then yeah. So it's really about my hair. Mostly.
Yeah. Okay. So is that why you left it down today so we could remember?
So you know
this is
who I
who you were?
was.
Got it.
Yeah.
We weren't 100% sure. We just didn't make sure. Right?
Matt mentioned the popularity of the show and the popularity of the two shows. I mean, these are two cult shows, and I mean, apart from your brief stint on Battlestar, like this is the kind of show where if you wanted to, you could go to conventions and stuff, from here on in. How does that feel? Like, is that something you embrace, or is like, no, I'm just interested in the art and I don't care about that?
No, I would embrace that. It's not something I'd ever even thought about, really. Yeah. But yeah, sure. Don't do whatever. I'm not that busy.
No. You keep on saying that, but
it's in your future. Get ready for it.
You're painting your cats. Yeah, so you got lots to do.
You keep on saying that, but for a Canadian actress, your resume is, it's pretty impressive.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I like to work, so I'll work as much as I can.
Yeah, that's great.
You're the Nicolas Cage of Canadian actors.
Oh, I should be so lucky. You just made my fucking day. That's what I would like my career to be.
It's so good. On the writing side, like as Al called earlier, you have a few writing credits there. Is that something that you're still doing or still dabbling in? And what kind of things do you want to write about, or where would it take you potentially?
It's something I'm interested in. I mean, the writing credits are sort of in the way of a project that was put together through rehearsal. So not really like sitting down to write it, although I do write a little bit, and I'm working on something that I would like to turn. It was a series idea, but that's just such a big endeavor. So I'm trying to redo it as a feature that maybe I could direct myself.
Nice.
Oh, so directing is also something you're interested in? Have you done any directing yet?
I haven't.
No.
But I've been doing this so long. Sometimes it's like I was working on something and I was like one of the most experienced people on set. And I thought, well, I should do other things too. I don't have to just be with my cats in my garden. I can do things.
Yeah. Now you mentioned Shelby Oaks, which is an upcoming, I guess, project of yours, and another one that's also listed as upcoming is Voluntary. Can you talk anything about that, or is that still?
I don't think Voluntary. I don't know what's going on with that.
No.
It's something I
Okay.
shot quite a while ago that I think is going to have a life, but I'm not sure.
All right.
Shelby Oaks, though, is very exciting. That's the
Mhm.
one I shot in Cleveland, directed by Chris Stuckman, and it's his directorial debut, and he wrote it as well. And Mike
Cool.
Flanagan came on as with Intrepid Pictures as executive producer. So I think it's going to get a big push. It's got a great cast, and I'm super, super excited about it.
And any other future projects you want to shed some light on before we let you go?
Well, not necessarily future, but I did a movie this year called Exile, or it came out this year, with Adam Beach, and it's a psychological thriller, and it's available on demand right now, and it's really good.
That's right. I've seen some of your social posts about that, so I forgot to mention it in your intro.
That's right.
That's on my watch list.
Yes.
I just haven't. I should have watched it before for coming on today. But Adam Beach, how was it working alongside of him?
It was fun. It was good. It was like a super intense movie, but he's a riot. So we had a really good time. It was just like, we laughed a lot. It was really good.
Yeah. Do you need that in some of these? Because a lot of your roles are pretty intense and serious. And like, do you need to do a lot of laughing off, like between takes, or are you like a method where you have to be like in it, through the whole thing?
No, I like to laugh in between. No, definitely. I feel like if I'm just like going through that kind of gut wrench all day, I won't have the stamina to do it. So I try to just save it for when it's on camera, and the rest of the time just be enjoying myself, because it's, it's why I do it anyway. I'm really in it for the fun. So.
That's great. Any more questions?
So what would you recommend to actresses coming into the role?
Yeah, into the industry.
That's what I'm looking for.
Usually, I have mentored a couple younger actresses, and usually what I tell them is make a short film, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort going into it, but you put yourself in it, and then you're putting yourself out there both as a filmmaker and as an actor, and you're going to open up so many more avenues for you so much more quickly than just auditioning for, officer number 2 or whatever. It's like, that's a long, boring road. Whereas at least if you're making a short film, you're making something.
That's amazing.
On that note, did you, I know you talked about you were kind of like half in, half out early in your career, still trying to figure out this was for you. Did you have any mentors in your world, or other actresses or actors that you looked up to or aspired to, that were helping drive you through it all?
Yeah. I mean, Vancouver's a really nice community. And when I got onto Da Vinci's Inquest, I worked with Venus Terzo, and I thought she was so wonderful. She's such a good actor, and she's such a nice person. And I looked up to her and other actors in the community. I work a lot with Gabrielle Rose. She's played my mom on a number of occasions, and I find her to be an inspiration, her career and just herself. She's so much fun, and so just such a great and dedicated actor, but also just not afraid to look ridiculous. And there's inspiration like all around me from just great actors that I admire in Vancouver and in Canada as a whole.
Yeah,
very cool.
Well, I love that you're maintaining your strong Canadian hold here, and I think a lot of people do. They leave, they go south, they go find where the I don't know. There's lots of opportunity here, but they think they need to go elsewhere. And I really appreciate that you're keeping it here and love to work here as well. It's amazing.
Well, we'll see. As soon as I get an offer,
yeah, right. It's all going to change in a week when they hear this podcast. Like, who's Camille Sullivan? I'm in.
Well, I think a lot of our American listeners, especially, are learning more about the industry up here, right? Like, we had McLean Fish on last week, and he talked about Winnipeg's film industry, and of course, we talk a lot about Sudbury and just in general in Ontario, and of course, there's a lot of this stuff's happening in Vancouver, but also in Alberta. Where would you say, like, where have you worked the most? I guess you've worked the most out of Vancouver, right?
Sort of, but Winnipeg, I've worked there a couple times, and it's got quite a booming industry right now. It's really everywhere sort of building up. I worked in Montreal a little bit, which is fantastic. I mean, it's just a cool city. It's just fun to be in. And Vancouver, but Vancouver is quite limited to certain kinds of things. So I actually don't end up working in Vancouver that much.
Oh, really?
It's usually, northern BC. Like I'm usually, if it's not glamorous, and it's, then that's usually where I'm shooting.
Victor, do you have any final questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a train related question. And if the answer is no, then I hope you will after this. Have you ever been on the Rocky Mountaineer?
I have not.
Oh my God. It's a crime. You live there. You gotta go.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
Please go and you will thank me later.
Okay, I will take that on because that actually does sound pretty interesting to me.
Oh, don't get Victor started on his trains. Anyway.
Don't ask any more questions about the train.
No.
I have many follow-ups.
We can put you in a breakout room and you guys can talk all you want.
There we go.
Yeah. Anyway, Camille, thank you so much for the time you've given us today. It's been amazing. We've been looking forward to this all week, and or actually since we confirmed you're going to be coming on. So we really appreciate it. Where can folks follow you, or where would you like them to follow you online?
I'm on Twitter, which I guess is X now, at Camille Sully, and on Instagram, Sullivan.Camille. Amazing.
And we're going to play us off here then with a song from none other than Joe Dolo. He dropped his Going Gold EP earlier this month, and we've been giving him a lot of love on this podcast because it sounds great. Here we go.
417. On screen.
Tish.
I'm dread to get you. Never go broke. We going gold. I'm protecting the brand. If I reach for the pole, we buying the pants like never before. Don't like the gram, but get paid for a post. I'm for the north, you get poked for a 20. Icy roads, we sliding on skates. Playing night, slept with nothing in my belly. Praying tomorrow will be okay.
And that's all we have for this episode. If you'd like to support the podcast, please tell a friend. Also follow us on most social media outlets at ProduceStandPod. Thank you for joining us. Now we're going to go hang out with our new friend, Camille. On behalf of Camille, Tanya, Matt, Victor, and myself, thank you for listening and have a great week.
We separate. These are my friends, but they don't want to elevate. We going gold, I could never decelerate. Foot on the gas like a total degenerate. Locking this through, my nigga, that's my element. You want me hang up with you to stay relevant?